We have already created our very first mapping. Here in this video, we are going to create the very first workflow. Workflow is a set of instructions which connects you to your data sources and loads data into your target. Data will be transformed based on your business logic defined in your mapping. Let's go ahead and see what are the basic components of a workflow. From this slide, we can see that there are three primary components. First one is a start task. This task let you know the point in which the workflow starts. The next task is the link task, so which is going to control the execution of your task. If in case you have multiple tasks within a workflow, using the link task you can define whether the task has to run parallelly or sequentially or any other control. If you need to do, you can do that using the link. And session task is the most frequently used task. This will connect you to your data sources and that's a transformation based on the logic you define in your mapping. Here you can see a workflow, and here you have the start task, then you have a link, then you have a session task. With that, we can go back to the Power Center workflow manager and start creating your workflow. Before we create our workflow, let's see what are the prerequisites for creating the workflow. First, we need to have a mapping to move your data from your source table to target table, and that mapping has to be saved into the repository, and that mapping has to be valid. We have already created that mapping in our previous session, and the next thing what we need is the database connection to connect your data sources. We have not created the database connection, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, for that you can just connect it to your workflow manager using your user ID and password. Once you are connected to the repository, you can go to the connections menu and click on relational. So here my data source is a relational table, so I am going to create a relational database connection. So click on relational, and here if you click on this drop down list, you can see a list of database which is supported by Informatica, and my database is a SQL Server database, so I'm going to choose Microsoft SQL Server. Okay, click on new, and I'm going to give the name as db_src_x, and the database username is project, the password, and I'm going to give the database name and the database server name. Okay, with that I have given all the information required for the database connection, so I can click OK. You can see that the database connection has created here, and I'm going to create a copy of this database connection by clicking copy as, and I'm choosing the SQL Server database. Click OK. You can see that one more database connection has created, and I'm going to give a rename for that. For that, you can do a edit, and I'm going to give the name as db_tgt_x. Okay, and you can see that the same detail has available already here. Click on OK, and if you want to give any special permission for a particular user, you can use the permission button and you can give the permission there. Okay, close. With that, we have created our database connection which is going to connect your data sources. This database connection is going to connect your SQL Server database. Okay, now we have everything ready for creating your first workflow, so let's go ahead and get connected to your folder wherein you are going to create your workflow. Once your folder is open, navigate the workflow designer. Once you navigate, you can see that the workflow menu is active here. Okay, click on workflows and create. Okay, I'm going to give the name of the workflow. Okay, I'm going to give just the information which is required. Click on OK. Now you can see that the start task is created in the workspace. Okay, so I'm going to do a double click and open that in the edit mode, and I'm going to give the name start employee name. Click OK, and if you want to give a description about this workflow, you can give that here, and OK. Okay, so now I need to create a task, a session task. which is going to connect you to your data sources and connect you to your mapping to do the data transformation. So for that, you can see the list of tasks available here, or you can see the tasks available here. Okay, so now I'm going to click task and click on create. Okay, here you can see the list of tasks. From this task, I'm going to choose the session task. Okay, and I'm going to give the name. Click create. Now it's going to ask me for the mapping name, which is to be attached to this session. So I'm going to choose the mapping name, employee name. Click on OK and done. Okay, now here in the workspace you can see the session has created. Okay, we have created the session and attached to the mapping, but we have not given the database connections. For that, let's do a double click and open the session in the edit mode and go to the mapping tab, and from the mapping tab we can see sources. Click on source and now you can see the database connection option here. Click on this arrow and give the database connection as db_srcx. Okay, with that we have given the source database connection, and now we can go to the target, and the same way we can go to the connections. Click on the arrow, it's going to pop up for the list of database connection, and I'm going to choose db_tgtx. Once that is chosen, click on OK, and you can see that the connection is set there. With that, I have given all the properties what is required to run a session, so that I'm going to just click apply and OK. So you must have seen there are a lot of tabs and properties available there. I'm going to give you only the basic information about the properties, so all those properties will be covered in a different session. Okay, so with that we have given all the information what is required in the session, like the mapping name, the database connection. Okay, so now let's see if the task is valid. For that, you can go to task and validate. Okay, you can see from the output window, you can see that the session is valid. Okay, the next thing what we need to do is link the task. Okay, for that what you can do is like go to the task menu again and choose the link task from here and come back to the workspace. Now you can see the mouse pointer has changed to a crosshair. Now click on the start, drag it to the session. Okay, you can see that the connection has established. Okay, with that we have given all the properties and all the configuration required for the workflow. Go and check if the workflow is valid. For that, go to workflow and do a validate. Okay, we can see that from the output window the workflow is valid. Alright, let's do a save. Okay, we can see that in the output window the workflow has been saved and it's valid. Okay, and so what we did right now is created a workflow, and in the workflow we have created a session task. That session task is going to call the mapping. That mapping moves the data from the source table employee and loads into the target table employees X. Okay, and now we are ready to run this workflow. For that, we can go to the workflow menu again to a start workflow. Okay, it's starting the execution of your workflow. Now it has opened the workflow monitor window automatically. Let me connect it. You can see that the workflow which we created is running, and now it is succeeded. Okay, and if you look at here, you can see that there are 4 records read from this source, and you can see that 4 records returned to the target. Okay, now let's go to the database and see the data there. Okay, so this is my source data, and I have four records in here, and let's go ahead and see in the target table. Okay, so this is the query to pull the data from the target table. Let me try the query and see what the data comes in. Okay, so I can see the same four employees information here, and along with that I can see that the last name and first name have been combined and loaded into the column name. Okay, that's all guys for this video. Please go to my Facebook page. You'll be able to get a list of training session, training manual, lab guide, and much more information exclusively for the fans. Thank you guys. See you again for the next video. Bye bye.